The dining room chandelier flickered, casting jagged shadows across a mahogany table. With a clink of silverware against porcelain sounded like a countdown to detonation. I sat across from my wife, Emily. Her smile as polished as the wine glasses, but her eyes darted her phone every few seconds, a nervous tick I'd ignored for months. Tonight, though, the air felt wrong, heavy like the moment before a storm breaks. Our families gathered for our annual dinner, laughed and passed platters of roasted lamb, oblivious to the fracture splitting my chest open. I gripped my fork, the metal cold and unyielding, as I caught the faint rash creeping up her neck, barely concealed by her silk scarf. A rash I'd seen in a doctor's office pamphlet 2 weeks ago, when I'd gone to get tested after she confessed to opening our marriage. Emily's laugh rang out, too bright, as her mother complimented the rosemary glaze. I wanted to scream, to upend the table, to demand why she thought open meant reckless, meant betrayal, meant bringing this into our home. Instead, I chewed mechanically, the meat tasting like ash, my mind replaying the moment I'd found a prescription bottle in her purse. Acyclovir for herpes. She brushed it off, said it was nothing serious, a flare-up from stress. But the doctor's words echoed, likely contracted recently. My test was clean. Hers wasn't. The math didn't lie, but my heart kept trying to rewrite the equation. For months, I'd ignored the signs. Her late nights at book club. The way her phone was always face down now, its screen lighting up with notifications she silenced too quickly. The perfume she started wearing, sharp and unfamiliar, clinging to her clothes when she slipped into bed long after I pretended to sleep. I'd rationalize it all, work stress, midlife reinvention, her need for space. We'd been married 12 years, built a life of shared dreams and quiet mornings. I thought love meant trust, meant forgiveness. But love doesn't survive lies that fester like wounds. "Mark, you're so quiet tonight," Emily's father said, his voice jovial, pulling me from my spiral. I forced a smile, my jaw tight, and muttered something about a long week. Emily's gaze flicked to me, her green eyes sharp with warning, but her lips curved in that practiced way she'd mastered. She reached for my hand under the table, her fingers cool and fleeting, like a stranger's touch. I pulled away, my pulse hammering, and she froze, her mask slipping for a fraction of a second. Did she know I knew? Did she sense the storm brewing in my silence? The dinner dragged on, each course a torment. My sister, oblivious, recounted a story about her kids, while Emily's brother teased her about her new, artsy phase. Painting classes, late-night gallery visits. I wanted to laugh, bitter and raw, because I knew those weren't paint stains on her jeans last month. I'd found them in the laundry, speckled with crimson, and she'd laughed it off as abstract expressionism. I believed her then, because doubt felt like a betrayal of us. Now, I saw every lie for what it was, a brick in the wall she'd built between us. As dessert arrived, lemon tart her favorite, I felt the weight of the envelope in my jacket pocket. The lab results, printed and folded, a quiet weapon I hadn't planned to use tonight. But the rash on her neck, the way she avoided my eyes, the memory of her casual, "we should explore ourselves" speech 3 months ago, it all coalesced into a single, unbearable truth. She hadn't just opened our marriage. She'd shattered it, and I was done pretending. "Emily," I said, my voice low but steady, cutting through the chatter. The room stilled, forks pausing midair. Her eyes locked on mine, wide with something like fear or maybe guilt. "There's something I need to share." My throat burned, but I pushed forward, pulling the envelope from my pocket. "I got tested. You should have told me the truth." Her face drained the color, the scarf slipping slightly to reveal more of the rash. Her mother gasped a soft, confused sound, while my sister's eyes darted between us. "Mark, what?" Emily started, her voice trembling, but I cut her off, sliding the envelope across the table. It landed by her plate, a silent accusation. "Open it," I said, my voice colder than I'd ever heard it. The room was a vacuum, all warmth sucked out. She didn't move, her hands trembling in her lap. So I did it for her, unfolding the paper with deliberate slowness. "Herpes, Emily. You gave me the courtesy of a heads up about your open marriage. But not this? Not the part where you were careless enough to bring a disease into our bed." The silence shattered. Her mother sobbed, a choked, disbelieving sound. Her brother swore under his breath, while my parents stared, stunned, their faces crumpling like paper. Emily's mouth opened, then closed, her eyes glistening with tears she didn't deserve to shed. "Mark, I didn't mean," she whispered, but the words were hollow, drowned by the roar of my heartbeat. "Didn't mean what?" I snapped, my voice rising despite myself. "To lie? To sleep with someone else without protection? To let me think I was the problem when I noticed you pulling away?" My hand shook, but I pressed on, the months of swallowed pain spilling out. "I loved you. I trusted you. And you made me feel like I wasn't enough." The room was a blur of faces, shock, pity, anger, but Emily's was the only one I saw, her beauty fractured by guilt. She reached for me, a desperate gesture, but I stood, my chair scraping against the hardwood. "I'm done," I said, the words tasting like blood. "You wanted freedom? You've got it." I walked out, the cool night air hitting my face like a slap. Behind me, the house erupted. Voices raised, Emily's sobs cutting through chaos. I didn't look back. The envelope left on the table was my final word, a truth she couldn't rewrite. As I drove away, the stars above were sharp and unyielding, like the clarity I'd finally found. Love doesn't survive lies, but I would.